I had two questions. Does anyone volunteer to live in winter, or is that punishment?
Well, what we were thinking is some people that like snowy conditions, like maybe Canadians or Minnesotans, they would want to live in these sections, and the cost would be probably lower, as most people wouldn't want to be here.
Sure. Did you do any math on electricity generation? How much you'd have to generate for your city size?
Well, obviously it would be pretty expensive. Like, we're making the seasons, you know, that temperature throughout the entire year, and it really never stops, and the temperature relatively stays the same. So it's pretty pricey. But since our city there's just a lot
fully
of
electric.
Yeah, we just get there are a lot of people that work here, and there's a lot of income that comes to our state and our government, so we're able to sustain all of that. So.
Thanks.
Up front.
Do you guys have any military? Because chances are there's going to be a lot of countries that want to take it over.
That's a really good question, but I don't think we'll need military. Our geodesic dome also serves as protection from the outer world, and I think it wouldn't come down to taking over.
But if worse comes to worse, then I think we could
provide. Yeah. Yep.
What was one challenge that your team had to overcome?
Well, one of the biggest challenges was making the dome, because it was hard to articulate it around the city, since obviously a dome is usually a spherical shape, and our city is like a rectangle. So we just had to make it work so it would serve as something that's covering the entire thing.
Is there anything you want to take from this city idea back to your own school or house?
I think it would be pretty nice to, be able to be hot in the winter.
Yeah.
So
maybe as Stanley said, our electric walkways all over the city and our parks, that'd be a good way to get electricity so we can sit.
Does your design come with a built-in population cap?
Well, we said that our city has around like 300,000 people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that our city would probably not be able to go over like 1 million people. I don't know. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we have a population density. Oh yeah, it's over here.
And these are the great questions, because they've got a couple days now to sort some of these things out.
Any 3D printing you have used for your model?
Well, we have some carbon fiber buildings here. So these are like some electrical buildings. Our weather machine is also 3D printed with solar panels on it. And at the end of the river, there's a electricity conversion building.
Rain over the dome.
Well, since the dome protects our city, rain from the outer world doesn't get in. But say if it's a rainy day in summer, then the weather machine would have created that rain.
If you're in a dome with no weather except for the weather machine, where do you get the wind for the turbines?
Well, since the sun, it doesn't heat the whole world evenly. So even if the sun is shining in summer, but it's not evenly getting everywhere, there are wind currents that are created because of the uneven sun layout.
And also we could recycle energy. If wind is coming out of the weather machine, then it'll come back to the wind turbines and then power our buildings all over again.
Is there a program set for your weather machine, or is it just completely random?
Well, the engineers do work on the weather machine, and it is technically random, but they make sure it's not sporadic. It won't be 90 degrees for 5 days straight and then suddenly drop down to 70. It is pretty evenly spaced. Yeah.
Would the wind from the weather machine into the windmills generate energy loss?
We'd have to look at that. I don't think so.
We have to use it.
Yeah.
What was the question? One more time if you can ask.
Yeah.
Are there ways that residents in the dome can go visit people outside of the dome and visitors can come into the dome to visit residents?
Yeah. So since it would be hard to make it so they would just leave outside and then maybe there would be weather coming in, there are tunnels underground they can drive into so that the weather coming from outside isn't directly being shoved into our city. So if they drive down like underground and then they can go up out of the city so that the weather isn't coming right in.
Good question.
If the judges on the tournament day ask you to highlight number one thing of your city, like what is the top attraction, what did you highlight it to be?
I think we would highlight our weather machine and the fact that we are able to sustain 4 conditions and climates in one city, because I mean I haven't seen one of those yet. So I think that would probably be the major part of our city and one of the major attractions.
Good answer.
3 points of praise for our 4 teams. Can you give us 3 points of praise or like 3 things that they did super great for us for that 4 week season?
Teamwork.
Up front.
I would say that the fact that you guys had a dome, yet there's still 4 seasons in there, that would probably be a really nice thing for a lot of people.
Wonderful, thank you.
I thought it was a great answer to the question about wind in the dome, because I was going to ask that too. But you're right, temperature differences influence wind, I think, and the collection of your wind generation. I think you got it.